are back, and in this next segment, let us talk about continuation of the characteristic of the third level persons. These people are proud, but they are not aware of it. And they have this kind of characteristics. They are perfectionists. They demand perfection from themselves and from others. They have scrupulous conscience. No demonstration of forgiveness. Do you know what is this? It is the hang-up of a school-age development, lack of appreciation, orderliness, and cleanliness. Number 2, they are achievers. They meddle with the business of others. They are busy toddlers, ambitious, envious, competitive, attention getter. This is the hang-up of spoiled toddlers. They cannot accept criticism, but they are very critical. This is the hang-up of the school age. They need appreciation. Number 4, they are structure-bound. They are attached to the laws. This is the hang-up of the play age stage, wrong formation of conscience. Number 5, they are self-righteous. They have that attitude that I am holier than you are. That is the hang-up of a toddler stage. They are close to other ideas. They cannot listen to others. This is again the hang-up of a toddler. They are very sure of themselves. This is also the hang-up of a toddler. Many of these are not grave sins. They start as imperfections. But if we do not accept it and do something to get rid of them, later on, they can lead to graver sins. These defects are what we call our blind spots. We do them habitually, but we are not conscious. And if it will be brought into our consciousness, we deny it. We don't accept it. The problem here is not our defects, because we are all weak human beings. All of us have defects. It is our blindness and the non-acceptance of our weakness. John of the Cross said that these are even more harmful, more dangerous than mortal sin. Why? Because when we commit a mortal sin, we immediately go to confession. But these kind of sins lead us to be more and more and more weak. And we do not realize that we are already addicted to grave sins. Now, you know, John of the Cross really put down some of these weaknesses. He said, the habit of always doing our own will, no matter how holy it is. The habit of gossiping, the habit of telling lies, the habit of excusing oneself and not to accepted one's fault. John of the Cross calls these habits inordinate attachments. Today, we call them compulsions, fixation, hang-ups, and conflicts. These are also immaturities that comes out and manifests itself in many ways. For example, moodiness, the habit of always being late, excessive shyness and self-consciousness, domineering and controlling behavior, lack of sensitivity to the feeling of others, being very sensitive, you get easily hurt, aggressiveness, the habit of fault-finding, negative and critical attitude, rough manners, hot temper, tantrums, sulking, lack of listening. They have a set idea about God. Now, they are too reasonable and analytical. They are very disturbed when their ideas and opinion are contradicted. They impose their ideas and convictions on others, whether it is conservative or modern ways. When what these persons really lack is interior freedom. They are too attached to themselves. That's why they cannot respect and accept others. They place their security in external, not in God. These people have no peace. They are so unhappy. How insecure we are if we put our security apart from God. We may have one or two of these enslavements. It is enough to hinder us in our progress in prayer. In one of my talks, I talked to a big university, and when I was talking about this, there was a lady who was crying. And at the end, she said, "Sister, may I talk to you?" And then she told me that she entered a religious community, and she really wanted that religious community. And so she was trained there, and at the moment of her acceptance, she was given the habit of the sisters. And then she said, "I do not know, I cannot accept the habit." So the investiture was not continued. And so the sisters asked, "If you cannot accept our habit, then you cannot become a sister like us." And then she said, "But I like to become a sister." And then she said, "You better enter in places where there are no habits, but I like this group." And that is why she was sent to that university in order to teach, because she could not enter. And while I was talking about this interior freedom, a light just flashed through your mind. Maybe because I was bringing them into contemplative prayer. She said, "Sister, I know where it came from. I must be around 3 to 4 years old. And I have many, many friends. And I did not realize they were rich friends. And they were always changing beautiful clothes during Sundays. And so I went to my father, and I asked my father, 'Can you please give me beautiful clothes like my other sister, the other friends?' And then the father told her, 'I cannot afford. I am only a fisherman.' She said, right at that moment, I have decided that I will always have beautiful clothes. That's why she cannot accept the habit of the sister, because it was not beautiful. That dates back when she was very young. But when she saw it, she really got freed, and she was able to enter that congregation. Because this kind of prayer goes very deep. We have many woundedness in our childhood. And if we continue to pray this way, then we will be able to see them. What these persons lack. What is it that binds us really? It is interior freedom. We need interior freedom. That's why John of the Cross is saying, as I said, it does not matter if a bird is tied with a rope or even a tiny thread, it cannot fly to freedom. You know, Saint Teresa of Jesus told us Carmelites, she said, "My daughters, why are you contented to be in the third level? It's true. You are really in that stage where you think you are very close to God. But he said, why do you stay there? If you are in that state, you are like going to God like a snail walking. Why are you contented to become snails when you are called to be eagles, to fly to freedom in order to be with God?" What does it mean to be free? To listen to the will of God every moment in order to do what God wants me to do. Many times we think that what we are doing is the will of God. We do not realize that it is not the will of God. It is only what I will. That's why it's very necessary. The key here is humility. To face and accept our weakness and limitation, to walk in the truth by loving and accepting ourselves as God loves us. Then we experience the healing of our woundedness from God. However, We will never be able to face ourselves without the grace of God. This self-acceptance is not enough. We need to pray and to face and accept ourselves in the light of someone who loves us, in the light of prayer. Now, because when you pray, you begin really to see your own weakness. But you know that God accepts you as you are. You are loved by God. So, we can only face ourselves in the light of someone who truly loves us and who truly accepts us. St. John of the Cross said, when we reach this stage of prayer, we think we are already spiritual because most of our concerns are now spiritual. So our needs and our sinfulness takes on something spiritual, and this is more dangerous. So we have spiritual pride, we have spiritual envy, we have spiritual avarice, we have spiritual anger, we have spiritual lust, we have spiritual gluttony, and we have spiritual laziness. Our needs and our fixation and the 7 capital sins under the guise of being spiritual is more difficult to overcome because we are doing them in the name of God. Now, we need what are more the other characteristics? We need inordinately praises and recognition if we are in the 3rd level. This is the hang-up of the school aids. No affirmation. We cannot accept sufferings. These are spoiled toddlers. They are blind to their defects, but they see the defects in others. This is a projection of their defects. The hang-up of the play aids. They are very exacting and they cannot understand the weakness of others. They focus on external. They judge people by their externals. They are easily scandalized. In prayer, they prefer more vocal prayers, quantity rather than quality. They are very concerned with the image that they project to people. Now, why? Because they think they really want to show that they are a better person. And what is behind this? It's pride. When trials come, they are very weak. They are proud and they have no self-knowledge. They stand on the pedestal they build or others build for them. Now, many of these people can be leaders. They pretend to know all the answers, giving advice even when they are not asked. They control and manipulate their life and the life of others. It is also said that, especially in our culture, the Filipinos, gift giving. We always give gifts in order to manipulate the decisions of our leaders. And if they are authority, everybody must know that they are in control. They have done something good and they are bragging about it. That is again a toddler. Now, they feel guilty if they cannot pray all their prayers. Now, if you feel so guilty because you cannot do all your prayers, you do it out of, fear that you cannot finish it. They are scrupulous and suspicious, especially in matters of sex and friendship. Distant and cold in the relationship with the opposite sex. They look down on people whose religion are not like theirs. Fixation on one's need for appreciation. Many of us who enter into a group, for example, prayer group, and we have done something and it is not being mentioned in the group, we immediately say, my goodness, I have done all of these things, and then they do not even consider me who is doing that. That is the need for appreciation. That is an immaturity. The need to acknowledge publicly donations and alms to the church and to the religious organization. The need to acknowledge publicly any work done for the church or the community. The need to put the donor's name on our churches. Why is it? Jesus said, whatever you do with the right hand, don't let the left hand know. Why can we not do it? Because of our pride. Before we end, let us have a short recap. People who are outside the castle are in the state of sin. Now, when they're able to enter the castle in the first stage, they are already in the state of grace, but one foot is still outside, meaning to say they are very, very weak. And they don't even accept that they are weak. But in the second stage, they are in the state of grace, but now they accept that they are weak. These are people usually who are addicts, but they accept that they are weak and there is more humility. But then, if you do not pass the second level and you have been good, you will be in the third level. These people are very proud because they are very, very good. Now, in our next episode next month, I'm going to explain to you how are we going to be able to go beyond all of this by talking to you about the discipline of Saint John of the Cross in order that we'll become humble people, not because we are perfect, but because we accept that we need God in our lives. And that is why prayer is very important.